Now I was doing a whole do-it-yourself on this, but the video ended up being way too long, so what I'm going to talk about is common mistakes that I have made and other people have made when swapping the clutch on a Honda S2000. So the first mistake that I see people make, when they are going to take off their top starter bolt, they break off the knock sensor. And that's more annoying than anything because you have to buy a new knock sensor. Second mistake, not reading the factory service manual. So before we get into dropping the transmission, it's very important that we follow the factory service manual because I see a lot of alternative methods posted online. And these are shortcuts. Oftentimes in life, taking shortcuts leads to headaches, and this is no exception. So I would follow the factory service manual. Before you even dive in, read that factory service manual and see if this is a job that you want to tackle. So then we follow the factory service manual. The method for removing the transmission in the factory service manual is to lower the subframe to get to the top transmission bolts. And so we follow all the instructions to get to that point. We pull the transmission out and we get into the clutch. And some mistakes that you can make here are, there's lots of them. Let's get started. The AP2 flywheel, I hate this thing. I would consider it a mistake to leave it in there because it's so heavy. I really hate this thing. Some people may disagree with me, but get rid of this. Now when you're putting in your new flywheel, make sure you follow Honda's recommended torque sequence. It's across like that, and you're not going to have any problems. Use their torque specification as well. Now with the clutch disc, with the aftermarket clutch discs, a lot of them make the clutch buzz noise. If you're okay with clutch buzz, you can use the eBay clutch like I did. It works great. It has a little bit of clutch buzz on deceleration. The OEM clutch is known as the clutch buzz free disc. So if you don't want clutch buzz and you're running a supercharger, use an OEM disc and use a stronger pressure plate and you can get away with more horsepower. So do I mind the clutch buzz? No, I don't, because I have a loud exhaust. I can't even hear it. Then bolting on the pressure plate, the common mistakes that I see are people not bolting it in the crisscross pattern, and then these fingers don't sit flush on the throwout bearing. That can lead to problems down the road. Make sure that you bolt it on evenly and that these fingers are sitting flush on the throwout bearing. Grease, using the correct grease. Honda calls for a urea grease. They tell you to grease the inside of the clutch hub. They tell you to grease the throwout bearing and the throwout bearing sleeve. Follow those instructions. The previous owner, or whoever changed the clutch on this car, did not follow those instructions, and my clutch was sticking and causing the shifter to not be very smooth. When I pulled my old clutch off, my splines were rusted. I had to clean those off, and then I had to re-grease them. Another mistake you can use, some people use too much grease and it flings up onto the clutch disc. So make sure you use a very thin film of grease if you do grease. So that's it for that. Now when you bolt your transmission on, this is my last major tip, and this is the biggest mistake. I have made it and other people have made it. I'm sure they probably won't admit it, but this is your clutch disc. If this is our transmission and we put our transmission on and we hang our transmission on the clutch disc, we can bend this inner part of the clutch disc and create a huge amount of headaches. So avoid that at all costs. What I use is a transmission jack, and you need to use very little force to get your transmission on. If you do everything right, it should go right on without any resistance. My final tip, and the other mistake that people make, replace any hardware that has, questionable bolt heads. If they're a little bit stripped, just buy new hardware. And always use the correct bolt torque specifications. Someone over-torqued a bolt on here and I had a hell of a time getting it off. I put all new hardware on, which is a little overkill. You don't need to do that. Now I also put new engine mounts on because when I got in there they were completely torn. So if anything's broken, replace it, and I guarantee you it will be worth it. This was one of the best upgrades I've done to this car. The lightweight flywheel makes it feel like an AP1 S2000, but with all the merits of the AP2. It's a great car now, and I love it. And you will love it too if you do this to your S2000. So that is it for now. Thank you guys for watching. If you decide to take on this clutch job, good luck.